I would say a lot of people do usually ask why Maine. You know, it's so far out there and it's so different from Texas, but it's definitely offers a lot of plus sides, especially coming from a big city like Houston. Things are a lot more slowed down here. You can say goodbye to living in your car and traffic, and you know, it's just a lot more slowed down, and you can actually spend your weekend somewhere really beautiful on the coast, unlike the flatlands where I came from. I like trying different cultural foods, and lately Maine's been growing in that department. We've had a lot of new people moving in from different places all around the world, and that's something I like to do in music shows as well. There's a couple of venues around Portland that I've been really enjoying. I also like to go out into the wild, you know, lake house in the summer. Hi, my name's Alicia. I work at WEX, and you can find your Maine job at liveandworkinmaine.com.
Meet the newest member of the MaineLife team. This, my friends, is Rico Stelvio, the Italian stallion I've been waiting for. He's quite the catch. Reliable, edgy, and perfectly proportioned with a strong core. He has a front engine, all-wheel drive, and an 8-speed automatic transmission with a carbon fiber drive shaft. He's an alpha. But then again, so am I. I think we're gonna get along just fine.
An echo of an echo is the semblance of a sound, and I press and I've waited with my ear upon the ground. Oh, lover, I'll see you there, waiting in the willows with your autumn hair. Oh, lover, I'll see you there after many miles.
So we're kicking off the show with Griffin Sherry, one of the ghosts of Paul Revere. How's it going?
Great, how's it going with you?
Welcome home, right?
Thanks, yeah, it's been crazy.
Where have you been? Where are you going?
Oh man, we've been all over. I mean, down to Florida, then out to the Rockies, and we just got back from a run that brought us down to Atlanta for a big festival, and kind of all over the East Coast. So we fly out to California next week for a festival.
And then you're gone for a month.
Then then we're driving out to Oregon. We kind of fly out, fly back, and then drive back out there. So keeping busy.
But before
always.
you go, you're going to take a little break to go up to Moosehead.
Yeah, I'm going fishing with some friends, which is like what I try to do every spring and fall, which is the one time I get to enjoy Maine to its fullest, for sure.
So we are actually going to be talking about this later in the show because of your love for fishing
Yeah.
and nature. You teamed up with Nature Conservancy and our friends at Blaze for a project that we'll talk about in a minute, but that's very important to you and your upbringing and your lifestyle. Okay, so before we get to that, talk a little bit about Ghostland and plug everybody to get their tickets now.
Gotta get your tickets, yeah. So we are deciding to throw, in 2014 we threw a festival. We decided just to kind of make one, and we did everything ourselves. It was just the four of us, like putting stakes in the ground, setting up porta potties, parking cars, and like got like 600 people out and had a bunch of local bands and had a ton of fun. We've been trying to organize another one since then, and all the stars kind of aligned this year for the first time. And so on September 1st at Thompson's Point in Portland, we're gonna throw the second Ghostland. It'll be us and Shovels and Rope and the Ballroom Thieves and our super good friends Max Garcia Conover and Sibylline. So
Big fans of all of them. And
most have been on the show, I think.
Yes, most of it. Got great talent. And how are the other ghosts?
Everybody's doing great.
You guys still love each other?
Oh yeah.
Going strong?
Oh yeah, going strong. You know, it's only been 30 years. We're doing good.
Well, good to see you.
It's good to see you too.
Yeah, take a peek, take a look.
I see my mom.
Good, good.
Today we have our 5th annual Rappel for Rippleffect event. This is a fundraiser that this year we're going to raise just over $80,000. That money goes to providing outdoor education programs for any child in Maine with no barriers attached to them as well.
What we are doing is watching people like you rappel for Rippleffect, a great cause. So thank you for doing it and for watching more people do it.
Carrie, don't look down. She's far away.
This is our Liquid Courage reception and corporate challenge rappel. We have about 10 folks who are rappelling today. People from Bullis, from Wex, from East Brown Cow.
Everything's gonna be fine, fine, fine.
Right. And have you reached here?
We have a lot of people out just supporting, cheering people on, having a good time, all in the name of life-changing programs for Maine kids.
Go! Rippleffect is just this crazy organization. They have a lot of programs, summer programs out on Cow Island. They also have programs within the Greater Portland schools. And I'm recent board chair, and one of the reasons I signed onto the board and signed onto the chair is it's one of the kind of a unique nonprofit where our fees, the fees that people pay to go to these programs, cover our expenses. So any donations, anything we raise from an event like this goes to a scholarship fund so that kids who can't afford to go out to the island can apply for a scholarship and get out there. So great cause, well-run organization.
I have rappelled many times. I'm a climber myself, but there is something to rappelling, 160 feet every time, no matter how many times you've done it. If you can't feel alive going over the edge with something like this, then you got to just keep trying more things.
You're setting an example today. Tomorrow we have a lot of students going over, got a lot of teachers going over. So we really try to tie everything into what we do, which is really leadership training, getting kids out in the outdoors, getting them on an island.
Rock climbing, we take kids backpacking, sea kayaking up and down the coast. We really have programs that challenge young people, push their comfort zone, find new depths within themselves. And that's what this event does for people as well. It really pushes that comfort zone and see what they're capable of.
I'm Amanda Rand, and I'm the president of Spinnaker Trust. At Spinnaker, we believe in the power and leadership of Maine women and girls, and that's why we're thrilled to support the Maine Women's Lobby and their 40 Years for Women.
Well, I'm a huge fan of the Women's Lobby, and part of why I am is because it is really true that they provide a voice for women in Augusta, and it's the lobbyists who are always incredibly talented, and I've worked with different ones over the years. But it's also because there are a lot of women and other people who care about gender justice and really the benefit of all of us and stronger families and stronger communities behind that lobbyist voice. And so having a role in the very fundamental issues that affect us in our state, issues of policy, health, civil rights, working, all of those things, the Women's Lobby is all over them. So I think they made a difference in providing a voice, and I think they've also, the overall arc of the work, to me, really speaks to freedom and opportunity.
So I don't even know how I got invited. So the Maine Blueberry Council, I don't even know who it was, that called me and they said, hey, do you want to do a wild Maine wild blueberry dinner? And I'm like, well, I'd have to think about that. I'm like, you probably don't want just blueberry muffins and blueberry crepes. And they're like, no, we want, other stuff. So I took it as a challenge. It was really fun. Essentially, there's 8 courses here. There's 5 entree courses and 3,
wow,
and then a bunch of breads. And so I use blueberries in, I don't know, about 15 different ways, and only one of them is sweet out of all of that. So this is a barbecued skirt steak with the Maine Wild Blueberry barbecue sauce.
Nice.
It's a little garlic butter with some Maine blueberry barbecue sauce.
Okay.
It came out really delicious. So it's but again, not sweet. So there's a little sweet to barbecue sauce, but it's not a particularly sweet thing. So the thing I'm most excited about, though, honestly, is this Maine buckwheat ploy with a Vermont quark cheese. You didn't know there was such a thing as quark cheese, right?
I've never heard of it.
So
no.
Vermont Maine quark cheese. Quark cheese is a farmer's cheese that's sort of like in the sort of sour cream, creme fraiche kind of family, and it's got a nice sort of a fermented kind of a quality to it. And then I made this Maine Wild Blueberry Caviar. So it's not fish, obviously, but
right.
So you can
looks
see
fancy.
this. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. So so it's savory. So it looks kind of like caviar. It actually looks like pressed Malasol caviar. So do you mind eating? Taste it? All right, here,
nope.
I'll give you a bite.
Sign me up.
So that's it's a little savory, it's a little bit sweet, and it's a little bit salty. It's kind of like caviar.
I like it.
It's pretty good, right?
Did you just make it up on your own?
Well, I messed around. It took me like 3 different versions to get one that I liked, but yeah. So this is.
Oh my gosh.
It's really good, right? So that's with the Maine crab and the quark cheese and the ploy.
There's a lot of wild blueberries that are grown in Canada, for one thing, but then there's even more cultivated, those bigger high bush blueberries. They are grown in North America and South America, and that's putting a lot of pressure on our industry right now. So the impetus on us is to do all we can to promote and market and drive demand.
We got wild Maine blueberry sangria, and it's dry. It's not what you would expect. It's not a sweet kind of cloying kind of thing. It's like a dry, refreshing kind of drink. It's amazing.
We just really want the hospitality industry in Maine, which is doing so well. Food and beverage is just such an amazing sector for the economy, to learn a little bit more about Maine wild blueberries. Putting it on their menu first and foremost, beyond a pancake or a muffin. It's a really versatile fruit. You just met with Chef Turin, who's doing all this incredible stuff. So sweet, savory, drinks. So utilize it and also do it year round. It's not just an August fresh fruit. We want people to enjoy it fresh in August. It's so wonderful. But then because we freeze the vast majority of it, these chefs can use it all year round for all sorts of different things. And then last but not least, if they put it on their menu and say the Maine wild blueberry, that tells the story. I mean, knowing that it's a wild fruit, that we don't plant it, it actually, grows untouched here in Maine, that's something that consumers are really going to respond to. So we're kind of challenging the industry to put it on their menu year round, to label it properly as the Maine wild blueberry, and to use it sweet and savory in a lot of different ways.
We're the hospitality industry, so we're supposed to be having fun.
That's right.
It's really a fun night.
That's right.
A fun night.
We're a fun
to get everyone
industry.
together.
Exactly.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I get to be with Griffin and Jesse on the banks of the Presumpscot River. The Presumpscot River is one of the early success stories in river restoration in Maine, where a dam was removed and within years the alewives and blueback herring and other fish started coming back, and the eels. And so one of the things we learned is that our rivers that we have messed up for hundreds of years sometimes can be fixed really quickly, and these fish come back out of nowhere. We don't have to spend any money every year, and we get millions and millions of fish coming back to rivers along the coast of Maine. It helps not only our rivers and our fishermen, but it also helps the Gulf of Maine, where it feeds all sorts of fish that we really care about, like hake, cod, and halibut. It feeds tuna and whales and seals.
Yeah, we were really excited to partner with the Nature Conservancy. They came to Blaze looking to create a video to help tell this once-in-a-lifetime comeback story of the alewives. So we immediately thought it was important to work with local partners to make this video happen, because it's a cause that matters to people who live in Maine. So Griffin and the Ghost of Paul Revere, who, as we were making the video, had just released a new album and had a track on there that was perfect, were kind enough to let us use it to kind of infuse some energy into the story we're telling of these tiny little alewives and this great migration that they go on every year. It's a story that people want to share with others within the state and outside of it, so we can get as many people involved and aware. And there are so many different ways you can get involved with helping the Nature Conservancy or just helping nature. So we hope it's inspiring for them.
And I hope you guys love the video. It's important to know what makes Maine special, and you can always be a part of that by supporting someone like the Nature Conservancy for sure.
Yeah. And your local land trust. So check out the video.
Watch it.
We measure distance in miles. We measure time in minutes. But how do you measure the health of a river? One way to do it is with alewives. Every year, these little fish swim up from the Gulf of Maine to spawn, becoming the base of a huge food chain. And the further they make it upstream, the more they connect with birds, other fish, animals, and people along the way. But it's a tough journey. Old dams, blocked road culverts, alewives get stuck. And that's where groups like the Nature Conservancy come in. You see, all across the state, river restoration groups are working with towns and landowners on fish-friendly passages, so alewives can get back to places they haven't been in more than 100 years. And local communities can celebrate their growing numbers. A decade ago, our rivers were pretty quiet. But with the help of people like you, millions of fish are now making their way back, which means our rivers are healthier than they've been in a long time. There's a once-in-a-lifetime comeback happening in Maine right now. Help us keep it going.
Janney Montgomery Scott is a brokerage firm headquartered in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it's a wholly owned subsidiary of a life insurance company by the name of Penn Mutual.
It's new to Maine, but it's one of the oldest firms on Wall Street. It's out of Philadelphia, and we originally opened it up in Yarmouth, Maine, and we moved here in the summer of 2015.
As a privately held organization, we're not subject to the vagrancies of having to do quarterly reports to stakeholders who may or may not have a vested interest in what your long-term strategic plans are for your organization.
This is my 33rd year, so it's very different than when we started back in 1986. Clients used to have to call to get a quote. What's the market doing? What's my AT&T stock doing? That's not the case anymore. The business has changed a lot. Technology, and especially people used to getting information right through their phone.
And working on a team with my dad, it's great because we can go out as a family with another family, and you can kind of pick up what the younger generation is looking for.
It's a firm that's growing quite nicely, but at the same time has maintained a high degree of profitability and stability over the years that's allowed it to survive for going on 2 centuries through obviously a lot of tumult, both in terms of what's going on a global basis and as well obviously what takes place in the financial markets. And I think that's a remarkable statement to make at a time, any time, certainly when there's been a lot of transition in our industry, consolidation, businesses that no longer exist that were iconic brands once in the industry, and yet Janney has survived and lives on and will continue to prosper because of the way it conducts itself in its business.
Clients want retirement planning, and they want cash flow analysis, and they want to be organized. And they need help because they have monies at work in their 401k, they've got monies here, they've got monies from other places that they may be rolling over.
So we're downtown at 50 Portland Pier, right here in the heart of Portland, and the setup is incredible. It's really easy to go out for lunch and not want to come back. Being able to walk to Monument Square and go to the farmer's market and pick up fresh produce for dinner it's cool, and to over the course of a 2-day weekend, not having to take vacation time. You can go for a hike and come back down the next day and go to the beach or go boating and not having to take vacation time. I mean, it's amazing, and it is vacation land, and I mean, it's reality now, and so it's been awesome.
This place we bought back in July. It was built as a concrete maintenance garage, and it was used for like 60 years in that one way. So we spent the last 9 months or so just fixing it up and making it, the perfect building for us, as well as making it specifically the perfect building to brew beer in. We got lucky. Maine Beer Company was growing right when we decided to grow. So we were able to buy a bunch of great equipment from Maine Beer Company. So we have 9 of their fermenters they sold. We have the bright tank, the cold liquor tank over here, and then we ended up getting a new brew system and a new canning line from a company called ABE out of Nebraska. Our goal, we love Maine. We love being part of the variety of spots that are really fun in Maine. So, being here in Orono is great. We spend a lot of time traveling around the state. We have great trade partners with restaurants and bars throughout Maine now. And we just want to be a better partner for them, get them the beer they want and the quantities they want. So we really feel like this facility, as it's set up right now, can make enough beer to take care of Maine the way we want to take care of Maine. That's really our goal. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But this is really the spot to be right now for us, is paying attention to our own backyard.
So I'm here with Asa. He's the master brewer for Orono Brewing Company. And we're just checking out the facility here on Main Street in Orono. And yeah, Asa's a longtime friend of mine, and I get the opportunity to help showcase the brand a little bit. But yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so we started Orono Brewing Company New Year's Eve of 2014-15. If you ever want to have a good anniversary party, open on New Year's Eve. That's been one of my favorite parts.
Fair enough,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. But I moved up to Bangor, what was it, like 7 years ago now. I moved up in 2010 to start Central Street Farmhouse, which is one of the homebrew stores. And so that was really fun, getting to know the homebrew community, brewing a couple times a week, living right upstairs there.
You've been with Orono from the beginning?
Yeah, no, I was very lucky to have met Abe and Heather through just being a part of the community up here for long enough, and Mark as well. And so it was a really natural progression of Woodman's Bar and Grill across the street, where they kind of got their start in the community. So after building that and doing some other stuff, they really wanted to add on a brewery element. And I'm super lucky that we crossed paths at the right time.
Sure.
And I was able to be a part of it.
Now, do they only serve Orono Brewing beers there?
They would if they could, but no.
Right,
No, it's really fun to rotate. There's so many great breweries in the state right now, and we have so many good relationships. Like in part because of like the homebrew connection in the beginning, we all kind of started there. That it's really fun to have like a lot of our friends on tap across the street as well. The mash tun. So this is where during our sparge right now, putting a lot of this into the boil kettle. So hot water is going on top of this grain. A lot of it sourced from Skowhegan and from Aroostook County. Coming out the bottom, going into a wort grant, and then it's heading into the boil kettle. This is going to be tubular IPA.
So things are going great here as far as construction. We have a great crew of people working on all the different elements of this building. And we're hoping to be brewing here at the end of May, and we hope to be open in the tasting room with the full kitchen and all that in June. So we're really excited to get people in here to experience this building like we have for the last year when we've been working on it, and have plenty of beer to go around, great food, really fun, kind of energizing gathering space. We think our capacity will be about 200 people plus the outside. A lot of games, definitely excited about having music and art here. So We're really excited to share this space with everybody, and to have Asa and Copeland and the rest of us have a chance to share the beer with more and more people in Maine. So can't wait to see everybody here.
An echo of an echo is the semblance of a sound, and I press and I've waited with my ear upon the ground.
Oh, lover, I'll see you there, waiting in the willows with your autumn hair.